The great hall of the space station called Harmony Prime was full of fear. Ambassador Al could feel it in the air. He could see it in the way the other aliens moved and spoke. He could taste it like metal on his tongue. He stood at the center of the hall, looking at the faces of 47 different species. Some had scales. Some had fur. Some were made of crystal or gas or things that had no name in any human language. They had come from every corner of the galaxy, and they had all come for the same reason. They were afraid. His skin glowed with soft blue light when he was calm, but he was not calm now. His skin flickered with red and orange, the colors of fear and worry. Everyone in the room could see what he was feeling. He could not hide it. "The devouring swarm has taken the outer rim," he said. His voice was weak. 17 worlds in the last cycle. All of them are gone. The people, the cities, the animals, the plants, everything. The swarm ate everything. No one spoke. The silence was heavy and cold. An admiral named stood up. His body was made of living crystal and light moved through him like water. He was old, older than most civilizations. He had seen empires rise and fall. He had never seen anything like this. "Our fleets have failed," said. "I sent 3,000 ships to stop them at the system. None came back, not one." "We sent our ships too," said a voice from the Methane Consortium. It belonged to Delegate, a being that lived inside a special suit filled with gas. "We lost everything. The swarm does not stop. It does not think. It does not make deals. It only eats." Al nodded slowly. "We have tried everything. We have used every weapon. We have tried every plan. Nothing works. The swarm is too big, too fast, too hungry." In the back of the room, a woman sat quietly and watched. Her name was Myra, and she was human. She was the only human in the room. Myra had been sent to Harmony Prime 3 years ago. Her job was to watch and listen and report back to Earth. Humans were new to the galaxy. They had only known about alien life for 30 years. The other species did not trust them. They did not give humans a vote in the council. They did not let humans join their fleets or share their best technology. Myra had always wondered why. Now, sitting in this room full of frightened aliens, she wondered even more. Al looked around the room with desperate eyes. Does anyone have a plan? Does anyone have an idea? Anything at all? The silence stretched on. No one spoke. No one had answers. Then spoke again. His voice was different now. It was quiet and careful, like someone saying something they knew they should not say. "There is one thing we have not discussed," he said, "the Forbidden Protocol." The room went very still. Myra saw the other aliens react. Some of them looked shocked. Some of them looked angry. All of them looked scared. "You cannot mean that," whispered. "We made a promise, all of us. We said we would never do that, no matter what." "That was before," replied. "That was when we thought we could survive. Now we know we cannot. The swarm will eat us all. Every world, every species, everything that lives in this galaxy will be gone." "But the protocol," said another delegate, a small creature with too many eyes. "You know what it means. You know what we would be doing." "I know," said, "and I'm still saying we should do it." Myra leaned forward in her seat. She had read every file she could find. She had studied the history of the Galactic Assembly. She had never heard of any forbidden protocol. "What is he talking about?" she asked quietly. No one answered her. No one even looked at her. Al closed his eyes. His skin flickered through many colors: fear, shame, regret, and something else. Something that looked like hope, but a dark kind of hope. The kind of hope that comes from doing something terrible. "Very well," he said at last. "We will discuss the protocol. But first we must clear the room. Only the Elder Council may hear this." The other delegates began to leave. Some of them moved quickly, as if they were glad to go. Others moved slowly, looking back with curious and worried eyes. But when Myra stood up to leave, Al held up his hand. "Not you, Ambassador," he said. "You need to stay." Myra stopped. Why, I am just an observer. I do not have a vote. This is not about votes, said Al. His lights settled into a deep, dark red, the color of dread. This is about your species. This is about humans. Myra felt her heart beat faster. What do humans have to do with this? The Elder Council exchanged looks. Al and 3 others stayed in their seats. Everyone else was gone. The great hall felt empty and cold. Please sit down, said. What we are about to tell you will change everything you know. It will change how you see us and how you see yourself. Myra sat down slowly. Her hands were shaking, but she did not know why. 30 years ago, we found your planet, Al began. We watched you for a long time before we made contact. We studied you. We learned about your history, your wars, your biology. I know this, said Myra. It is in all the history books. Not all of it, said. There are things we never told you, things we decided to hide. He waved his crystal hand and a holographic display appeared in the air. It showed Earth, the blue planet, home. When we study new species, continued, we look for patterns. Every species evolves in a certain way. They become good at one thing, they specialize. They find their place in the order of life. But humans, said Al, humans did not do that. Humans did something different, something we had never seen before. What did we do? Myra asked. Al looked at her with his glowing eyes. His skin was almost black now, the color of deep fear. You refused to stop, he said. You refused to settle, you refused to accept any limit. You spread across your entire world in just a few thousand years. You ate anything. You lived anywhere. You adapted to everything. Desert, ice, mountain, ocean, nothing stopped you. That is just survival, Myra said. That is just what life does. No, said, that is what predators do. That is what conquerors do. That is what the most dangerous things in the universe do. He paused, and when he spoke again, his voice was almost a whisper. Ambassador, we did not keep humans away from the galaxy because you were too young or too primitive. We kept you away because we were afraid. We were afraid of what would happen if we let you out. Myra stared at him. Her mind was spinning. Afraid of us. Yes, said Al. And now, for the first time in our history, we need that fear. We need the thing that terrifies us, because it is the only thing that might terrify the swarm. He stood up and walked toward her. His lights were steady now, but still dark. Ambassador, we need you to contact we need you to tell them the truth. We need you to ask them for help. He stopped in front of her, close enough to touch. We need you to unleash humanity upon the galaxy, and may the cosmos forgive us for what comes next. Myra sat in a small room deep inside Harmony Prime. The walls were made of dark metal, and there were no windows. The only light came from the holographic displays that floated in the air around her. The 5 elders of the Galactic Council sat across from her, Al and 3 others whose names she did not know yet. They looked at her with eyes that held thousands of years of memory. They looked at her like she was something dangerous. Before we continue, said Elder Eth, an ancient woman whose skin glowed with pale silver light, you must understand something. We are not your enemies. We never were. Then why did you lie to us? Myra asked. Her voice was harder than she meant it to be. Why did you keep us trapped in our own solar system? Because we were afraid, Eth replied simply. And fear makes people do foolish things, even people who have lived for 10,000 years. She waved her hand and the displays changed. Now they showed images from long ago. Myra saw her own planet, but it looked different, younger. The continents were in different places. We first found Earth 200,000 years ago, Eth said. Your species was just beginning. You were small, weak, and had no technology. By every measure we used, you should have stayed that way. Most species take millions of years to develop. The images changed again. Myra saw early humans hunting with spears. She saw them building fires. She saw them painting on cave walls with their hands. But you did not stay weak, Eth continued. You grew fast, too fast. In just a few thousand generations, you went from making tools out of rocks to making tools that could split atoms. That is progress, Myra said. That is what intelligent life does. No, said, his crystal body made a sound like wind chimes when he moved. That is what you do. Other species take their time. They grow slowly, carefully. They find balance with their worlds. They learn to live in peace. Humans do not do that, said another elder, a being made of swirling gas contained in a metal suit. Humans grow like fire. You spread like disease. You consume like the hungry darkness between stars. Myra felt anger rising in her chest. That is not fair. We have art. We have music. We have love and kindness and all the things that make life good. Yes, said Al gently. You have all of those things, but you also have something else, something no other species has. He pulled up another display. This one showed data, numbers and charts that Myra did not fully understand. Every living thing has a drive to survive, Al explained. But that drive has limits. When a species becomes comfortable, when it has enough food and safety, the drive gets weaker. They slow down. They stop growing. He pointed at a line on the chart. It went up, then flattened out into a straight line. This is what normal species do. They reach a point where they have enough and they stop. Then he pointed at another line. This one did not flatten. It kept going up, higher and higher, until it went off the top of the chart. This is humans, he said. You never stop, you never have enough. No matter how much you have, you want more. No matter how safe you are, you push further. No matter how many times you should die, you refuse. Eth nodded slowly. When we first made contact with your species, we ran many tests. We wanted to understand you. We wanted to know what made you different. She pulled up old records, reports written in alien languages that Myra could not read. We found that your bodies heal faster than they should. Your minds adapt to new situations in ways that should not be possible, and your breeding rate is, by galactic standards, terrifying. Terrifying, Myra repeated. A couple might have one child every 500 years, Eth explained. Might grow a new crystal once in a lifetime, but humans can have many children, and those children can have children of their own while the first generation is still alive. We calculated what would happen if we gave humanity full access to the galaxy, said. We ran the numbers over and over. Every simulation ended the same way. How? Myra asked, though she was not sure she wanted to know. In 3,000 years, humans would outnumber every other species combined. In 5,000 years, you would control more worlds than the rest of the galaxy together. In 10,000 years, there would be nothing left but humans. The room was quiet. Myra could hear her own heartbeat. So you put us in a cage, she said finally. You told us we were not ready. You gave us just enough technology to make us happy, but not enough to let us grow. Yes, said Al, and we are sorry for that. Truly we are. But we did not know what else to do. We had never met anything like you. We did not know if you were a blessing or a curse. And now? Myra asked. The elders looked at each other. Something passed between them, a silent agreement that had been forming for months. Now we know, said Eth. The devouring swarm has shown us what true danger looks like. They are everything we feared humanity might become, but worse. They have no art, no love, no kindness. They have only hunger. We have been running simulations of the war, added. We have tested every possible strategy, every combination of forces, every weapon we have ever created. He pulled up the final display. It showed thousands of battle scenarios, each one ending in defeat. Red markers covered the map of the galaxy like a spreading stain. In every simulation we lose, he said. The swarm is too big, too fast, too hungry. Our weapons do not work, our strategies fail, our fleets are eaten. He paused. Every simulation ends in defeat, except one. The display changed. Now it showed a different outcome. Blue markers pushing back against the red, swarm fleets breaking apart, swarm worlds falling silent. In this simulation we win, said, but only because we added a new factor, a species that is even more aggressive than the swarm, a species that adapts faster, breeds faster, and fights harder, a species that does not know when to give up. Myra looked at the display. She did not need anyone to tell her what species he was talking about. You want us to fight the swarm, she said. We want you to destroy the swarm, Al corrected. We want you to do what you have always done. We want you to spread across the galaxy like fire. We want you to consume everything in your path. We want you to be the monsters we always feared you were. He stood up and walked toward her. His lights were steady now, a deep purple that meant acceptance of something terrible. We know we are asking something horrible, he said. We are asking you to become the thing we tried to prevent. We are asking you to prove that all our fears were right. But we have no choice, said Eth. The swarm will eat us all, every species, every world, every star, unless something stops them. And the only thing that can stop them, said, is something even more frightening. Myra stood up. Her legs were shaking, but her voice was steady. I need to contact Earth, she said. I need to tell them everything. Al nodded. We will give you access to our fastest communication array. The message will reach you in minutes. And what then? Myra asked. The elders looked at each other one more time. When Eth spoke, her voice was very soft. Then we wait, and we hope that humanity is as dangerous as we always believed, because if you are not, then nothing can save us. The galaxy will end and the darkness will win. Myra walked toward the door. She stopped with her hand on the handle and looked back. You were right to fear us, she said. I just hope you are ready for what happens next. Then she walked out, leaving the elders alone with their fear and their hope and the terrible thing they had just done. The message traveled through space at the speed of light. It bounced from relay to relay, crossing the vast emptiness between stars in just minutes. When it reached Earth, it arrived at a military base hidden deep in the mountains of Colorado. General Cole was drinking coffee when the alert came. He was 62 years old, with gray hair and scars on his face from wars most people had forgotten. He had spent his whole life preparing for something. He did not know what. He just knew that one day, humanity would need to fight. Now that day had come. He read the message 3 times. Then he put down his coffee and walked to the war room. Get me every fleet commander on the line, he ordered. Wake up the president, wake up everyone. Within an hour, the most powerful people on Earth were watching the same message. They saw the records of the devouring swarm eating worlds. They saw the alien council begging for help. They saw the truth about the quarantine that had kept humanity trapped for 30 years. The president, a woman named Sandra Hayes, looked at the screen with cold eyes. They kept us in a cage because they were afraid of us. Yes, ma'am, said General Cole. And now they want us to save them. Yes, ma'am. President Hayes was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of someone who had been waiting for revenge. Tell them yes, she said. Tell them we are coming. General Cole nodded and turned to face the other officers in the room. Ladies and, he said, what I am about to show you is classified at the highest level. Only 7 people on Earth know about this. Now you will be the 8th, 9th, and 10th. He pressed a button, and the main screen changed. It showed maps, blueprints, and video feeds from locations that did not officially exist. For the past 30 years, we knew something was wrong. The aliens gave us technology, but never the best technology. They let us travel to other stars, but only certain stars. They talked about friendship and cooperation, but they never let us join their council. He pointed at the screen. So we prepared, quietly, secretly, in places they did not know about. The video showed massive shipyards hidden inside asteroids. It showed factories buried under the surface of Mars. It showed training camps on moons that the aliens thought were empty. "We have 300 warships ready to launch right now," Cole continued. "Another 2,000 are in different stages of construction. We have weapons that the aliens have never seen. We have soldiers who have been training for battles they were never supposed to fight." Admiral Morgan, the head of the space fleet, leaned forward. "General, with respect, the aliens have been building ships for millions of years. How can we compete with that?" "Because they build ships to defend themselves," Cole replied. "We build ships to destroy others. There is a difference." He pulled up images of human warships. They did not look like alien vessels. Alien ships were elegant and beautiful, with smooth curves and glowing lights. Human ships were ugly. They were covered in weapons. They had thick armor and sharp angles. They looked like machines built for one purpose only: war. "The aliens fight to protect what they have," Cole explained. "They retreat when the battle is too hard. They calculate the cost and decide if it is worth it. They are rational." He paused and looked around the room. "Humans are not rational. When we fight, we do not calculate. We do not retreat. We push forward until we win or we die. And even when we die, we find ways to keep fighting." President Hayes nodded slowly. "What do you need from me, General?" "I need you to tell the world," Cole said. "The secret is over. Everyone needs to know what is coming. Everyone needs to understand what we are going to do." "And what are we going to do?" Cole turned back to the screen. It showed the galaxy, with red markers showing where the swarm had spread. The red covered almost half of all the stars. "We are going to do what humans have always done," he said. "We are going to fight. We are going to spread. We are going to consume everything in our path until there is nothing left to consume." He looked at the president with hard eyes. "The aliens were right to fear us. They just did not understand why. They thought we were dangerous because we grow fast and adapt to everything. But that is not what makes us dangerous." "Then what is?" Hayes asked. "We do not give up," Cole said simply. "Ever. No matter how bad things get. No matter how many times we fail. No matter how much we lose. We keep going. We keep fighting. We keep pushing forward until we win." He pointed at the red markers on the map. "The swarm is big. The swarm is powerful. The swarm has eaten civilizations that existed for millions of years. But the swarm has never met anything like us. They have never met something that refuses to die." 2 days later, the first human ships launched from their hidden bases. They rose from the dark side of the moon. They emerged from asteroids in the belt between Mars and Jupiter. They came out of secret stations hidden in the clouds of Neptune. 300 ships in total, each one carrying a crew of humans who had trained their whole lives for this moment. General Cole stood on the bridge of the flagship, a massive vessel called the Iron Will. Beside him stood Ambassador Myra, who had returned to join the war. "The aliens are watching," Myra said, looking at her console. "The whole galaxy is watching." "Good," said Cole. "Let them see what they unleashed." He activated the communication system. His voice went out to every ship in the fleet. "This is General Cole. 30 years ago, the galaxy put us in a cage. They said we were too dangerous. They said we were too wild. They said we were a threat to everything they had built." He paused. "They were right. We are dangerous. We are wild. We are the thing that lurks in the dark places of the universe, waiting for a chance to strike." The fleet began to move, 300 ships turning toward the stars. The devouring swarm thinks it can eat the galaxy. It thinks nothing can stop it. It thinks it is the most dangerous thing in the cosmos. Cole smiled. It was not a nice smile. "It is wrong. We are the most dangerous thing in the cosmos, and now, finally, we get to prove it." The ships jumped to faster than light speed. In an instant, they were gone, crossing the vast distances between stars in the blink of an eye. Behind them, the aliens watched with fear in their hearts. They had called for help and help was coming, but they knew deep in their souls that they might have made a terrible mistake. They had asked for the monster under the bed. Now the monster was awake, and it was hungry. Back on Harmony Prime, Elder Eth watched the human fleet disappear into the darkness. "What have we done?" she whispered. Al stood beside her, his skin flickering with colors that had no name. "We have done the only thing we could," he said. "We have chosen between two nightmares. We have chosen the one that might let us survive. And if we are wrong, if humans are worse than the swarm—" Al did not answer. He did not know what to say. He only knew that the galaxy would never be the same. The age of alien supremacy was over. The age of humanity had begun, and nothing in the cosmos would ever forget what happened next. The system was dying. 2 of its 3 inhabited worlds were already gone, consumed by the devouring swarm. The 3rd world, Prime, had only days left. Its people had already fled. Its cities were empty. Only automated defenses remained, firing uselessly at the endless wave of swarm ships. The swarm armada filled the sky. 10,000 organic vessels, each one a living creature the size of a mountain. They pulsed with dark energy. They screamed with a sound that traveled through space itself. They were hungry, and they had never known defeat. Then the humans arrived. Commander Lisa Monroe stood on the bridge of the battleship Relentless. She was 41 years old, with short brown hair and eyes that had seen too much death. She had lost friends in the border wars. She had watched good people die in training accidents. She had spent 20 years waiting for a real fight. Now she had one. "Contact," said her tactical officer, a young man named Park. 10,000 plus hostiles. "Sir, this is the largest swarm force anyone has ever seen." "Good," said Monroe. "That means more targets." Around her, 50 human warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. They were small compared to the swarm vessels. They looked like toys next to giants. But they moved with purpose, spreading out into attack formations that no alien species had ever used. "All ships, this is Monroe," she announced over the fleet channel. "Forget everything the aliens taught us about warfare. Forget defense. Forget caution. Forget survival. We are not here to survive. We are here to win." She looked at the tactical display. The swarm was moving toward them, confident and hungry. They had destroyed hundreds of fleets before. They expected this one to be the same. "Attack pattern Omega," Monroe ordered. "All ships forward, no retreat, no surrender." The human fleet charged. The swarm did not understand what was happening. Every other species they had faced had been careful. They had formed defensive lines. They had protected their ships. They had fought to minimize losses. The humans did none of these things. They flew straight into the heart of the swarm armada. They did not try to stay safe. They did not try to keep distance. They got as close as possible and started shooting. The Relentless led the charge. Its weapons fired in all directions, tearing into swarm vessels at point-blank range. The ship took hits. Armor melted. Crew members died. But it kept moving forward, pushing deeper into the enemy fleet. "Hull breach on Deck 7, reported the damage control officer. "Seal it," said Monroe. "Keep firing." "We have lost engines 2 and 4. "Use what we have. Keep firing." "The swarm is surrounding us." "Good, that means we cannot miss. Keep firing." Around her, other human ships were doing the same thing. The destroyer Vengeance rammed a swarm vessel twice its size, detonating its reactor in a massive explosion that took out 4 enemy ships. The frigate Defiant kept fighting even after it lost half its crew, its surviving officers refusing to abandon their weapons. And then there were the boarding parties. The swarm had never faced boarding parties before. Why would they? No sane species would send soldiers onto an enemy vessel that was made of living tissue, filled with acid and teeth and things that wanted to eat you. Humans were not sane. Sergeant Danny led his team through the corridors of a swarm command ship. They wore heavy armor and carried weapons designed to burn through organic matter. Behind them, the walls pulsed and moved. Ahead, swarm warriors waited with claws and hunger. "Contact front," shouted one of his soldiers. "Light them up," replied. The team opened fire. Flames and plasma tore through the swarm creatures. The walls screamed. The floor shook. But the humans kept moving forward, step by step, killing everything in their path. They reached the nerve center of the ship. It was a chamber filled with organic cables and pulsing organs. At the center was a massive brain, the control unit for the entire vessel. Pulled out a nuclear device the size of a football. He armed it and set it in the center of the chamber. "Time to go," he said. They ran. Behind them, the device counted down. They made it back to their shuttle just in time. The ship exploded, a new star burning bright in the darkness. Across the battlefield, the same thing was happening again and again. Human soldiers boarding swarm ships. Human ships ramming enemy vessels. Human crews fighting until their last breath, refusing to give up, refusing to stop. Commander Monroe watched the tactical display as the swarm numbers began to drop. 8,000, 7,000, 5,000. "They are breaking," said Park. His voice was filled with wonder. "Sir, the swarm is running." It was true. For the first time in their history, the devouring swarm was retreating. Their surviving ships turned and fled, trying to escape the nightmare that had come for them. "No retreat," said Monroe. "All ships pursue and destroy. None of them leave this system alive." The human fleet chased the fleeing swarm. They hunted them through the asteroid fields. They tracked them into the dark spaces between planets. They destroyed every last one. When it was over, the system was full of wreckage. Human ships and swarm ships mixed together in floating graveyards, but the humans had won. Monroe looked at her damage report. Of the 50 ships that had entered the battle, only 31 remained. Many of those were badly damaged. Over 4,000 humans had died. But they had destroyed a swarm armada of 10,000 vessels. They had proven that the swarm could be beaten. "Get me a channel to General Cole," she ordered. A few minutes later, the general's face appeared on her screen. He looked tired but proud. "Commander Monroe," he said, "I just got the reports. Outstanding work." "Thank you, sir, but we paid a heavy price." "We always do. That is what makes us human. We pay the price that no one else is willing to pay." He paused. "This is just the beginning, Commander. The swarm has forces all across the galaxy. We have a long war ahead of us." "We will be ready, sir." "I know you will." Cole out. The screen went dark. Monroe leaned back in her chair and closed her eyes. She thought about the people she had lost, the ships that would never fly again, the families that would get terrible news. But she also thought about what they had done. They had shown the galaxy what humans could do. They had proven that the swarm was not unstoppable. They had given hope to a universe that had none. That was worth the price. That was worth everything. Across the galaxy, news of the battle spread. Alien species watched the recordings with shock and fear. They saw human ships charging into certain death. They saw human soldiers fighting creatures that had eaten worlds. They saw humans die by the thousands and keep fighting anyway. And they understood, finally, why the Galactic Council had feared humanity so much. Humans were not just aggressive. They were not just adaptable. They were something far more dangerous. They were relentless. The war was far from over. The swarm still controlled half the galaxy, but the tide had turned. The prey had become the predator. The hunted had become the hunter. And in the dark places between stars, the swarm began to learn something new. For the first time in their billion-year existence, they began to feel afraid. The humans were coming, and nothing in the universe could stop them. 6 months had passed since the first battle 6 months of war. 6 months of blood and fire and death. 6 months of humanity spreading across the galaxy like a storm. The devouring swarm was dying. Admiral Cole stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Iron Will. Around him, a fleet of 500 ships waited in the cold darkness of the void reaches. This was the place where the swarm had been born, 1,000,000,000 years ago. This was where it would end. "Status report," he ordered. "The Swarm Queen is in the central cluster," said his tactical officer. "She has about 200 ships left. That is all that remains of her fleet." 200, Cole repeated. He remembered when they had faced 10,000 at. Now, the greatest threat the galaxy had ever known was down to 200. Ambassador Myra stood beside him. She had been with the fleet since the beginning, watching humanity prove everything the aliens had feared. "The Galactic Council wants to observe," she said. "Elder Eth and the others are watching through our relay system." "Let them watch," said Cole. "Let them see how it ends." A holographic display appeared on the bridge. The faces of the Elder Council looked out at them. Eth, Al, and others. They looked tired. They looked scared. They looked grateful. "Admiral Cole," said Eth. Her voice was soft. "The Swarm Queen is sending a signal. She wishes to surrender." Cole looked at the display. The signal was there, broadcasting on all channels. It contained genetic samples, coordinates, information about remaining hives, everything needed for complete submission. "She is offering to give up," Eth continued. "She is offering to submit to imprisonment. She is offering to let us study her kind. In exchange, she asks only that we let her live." Cole was quiet for a long moment. He thought about the worlds the swarm had eaten, the billions of people who had died screaming as they were consumed, the civilizations that had existed for millions of years, now gone forever. "No," he said. "Admiral," said, his crystal form flickering with concern, "the Swarm Queen is the last of her kind. If you destroy her, her species will be extinct. There will be nothing left to study, nothing left to learn from." "Good," said Cole. "Admiral, please," Eth leaned forward. "We understand your anger, we share it, but mercy is the mark of a civilized species. You have proven your strength. Now prove your wisdom. Prove that you are better than the swarm." Cole turned to face the holographic display. His eyes were hard, but his voice was calm. "Elder, let me tell you something about humans. We are not a merciful species. We have never been merciful. Our history is filled with wars and violence and cruelty. We have done terrible things to each other for thousands of years." He paused. "But we are also capable of love, of kindness, of protecting the things we care about. And when something threatens those things, we do not show mercy. We destroy it, completely, forever." He pointed at the display showing the swarm fleet. The swarm ate 17 worlds. Billions of innocent people gone. Children, families, entire civilizations, consumed by something that felt no remorse, no pity, no hesitation. His voice grew harder. "You want me to show mercy. You want me to let the creature that did all of that live, so that maybe someday it can escape and do it again." He shook his head. "No, we do not leave threats alive. We do not give monsters a chance to come back. The swarm wanted to consume everything in the universe. Now it can choke on us instead." He turned to his weapons officer, a woman named Rachel Stone. "Target the Swarm Queen. All weapons fire on my command." "Admiral, wait," said Al. His skin was flickering with urgent colors. "We beg you to reconsider. This is not the human way we hope to see." "You do not get to decide what the human way is," Cole replied. "You kept us in a cage for 30 years because you were afraid of us. You were right to be afraid, but you made a mistake. You thought we would become monsters." He looked at the display showing the broken swarm fleet, the dying queen, the end of 1,000,000,000 years of hunger. "We are not monsters. We are something worse. We are survivors, and the first rule of survival is simple. You do not leave threats alive to threaten you again." He turned back to Rachel Stone. Fire. The human fleet unleashed everything it had. Missiles, plasma beams, nuclear weapons. The darkness of the void reaches lit up like a new sun. The Swarm Queen screamed, a sound that echoed through space itself, 1 billion years of hunger ending in fire. Then it was over. The Queen was gone, the Swarm was extinct, the war was won. Cole looked at the display where the Elder Council watched. Their faces were a mixture of emotions: fear, relief, horror, gratitude. "It is done," he said simply. "The Swarm is gone." For a long moment no one spoke. Then Eth bowed her head. "Thank you, Admiral. You have saved us all." "Yes," said Cole. "We have, remember that." 1 month later, the Galactic Assembly met for the first time since the war began. The Great Hall of Harmony Prime was full again, but the mood was different now. The fear was still there, but it had a new focus. Ambassador Myra stood at the center of the hall. She was not sitting in the back row anymore. She was at the main podium, holding a full voting seat, representing humanity as an equal member of the Council. "You were right to fear us," she said. Her voice was calm and clear. "We are dangerous, we are aggressive, we spread fast and we adapt to everything. We do not know when to stop." The alien delegates listened in silence. Some of them remembered the recordings from the war, the human ships charging into certain death, the human soldiers boarding swarm vessels, the human crews fighting until their last breath. "But we are also capable of loyalty," Myra continued, "of protection, of standing between those we care about and the darkness that threatens them. You kept us in a cage because you feared what we might do. Now you know, we do exactly what you were afraid of." She paused and looked around the room. "We win, at any cost, by any means, against any odds." She let the words hang in the air. "The question now is simple. Would you rather have humanity as your ally or your enemy? Because there is no third option. There never was." The vote was quick and unanimous. Humanity was granted full membership in the Galactic Assembly, full rights, full territories, full access to all the technology and resources they had been for 30 years. But more than that, humanity was granted something else. Something that could not be written in treaties or measured in resources. They were granted fear. The other species of the galaxy looked at humans differently now. They saw the kindness and the art and the love, but they also saw the fire. They saw what happened when humanity was pushed too far. They saw the monsters that lived inside every human heart, waiting to be unleashed. And in that fear, the galaxy found peace. No one threatened human worlds. No one tried to limit human expansion. No one dared to start a war that might draw human attention, because everyone knew what would happen if they did. The humans would come, and they would not stop until they won. Years later, Elder Eth was asked about the decision to summon humanity. She was old by then, older than any living thing should be. Her light was fading, but she still remembered. "Were you right to fear them?" the interviewer asked. Eth was quiet for a long time. "Yes," she said finally. "We were right to fear them. They are the most dangerous thing in the cosmos. They are relentless and adaptable, and they never, ever give up." She paused. "But we were wrong about one thing. We thought their danger made them evil. We thought their power made them monsters. But it does not. It makes them protectors. It makes them guardians. It makes them the shield that stands between the galaxy and the darkness." She closed her eyes. "We summoned the only species that terrifies the cosmos, and they saved us all." The interviewer nodded and ended the recording. Behind him, through the window, human ships moved through the stars. They were everywhere now, spreading across the galaxy like their ancestors had spread across Earth. And in the quiet places between stars, in the dark corners of the cosmos, nothing threatened them. Nothing dared. The age of fear had ended. The age of humanity had just begun.